All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to At This Moment with me, Jim Jefferies. I'm with Amos Gill.
Hello,
what are we
everybody.
talking about tonight, Amos?
We have a podcast that discusses Jeff Bezos's wedding in Venice. We have the Glastonbury scandal of free speech versus hate speech. We're also talking about a murder mystery in South Australia. Plus, you've got a cunt of a week for us.
Okay,
Before then,
So the first 20 minutes is just me complaining about American Airlines. It does get better. I had to vent. But before that, gigs coming up. You can come and see me in Hawaii. I'll be at the Castle Theatre in Maui on July 25th. The 26th of July, I'll be in Honolulu performing there. I'll be out there with my family having a great time. Then starting August 29th, starting in Lisbon, I will be in Portugal, then Barcelona, then Athens, then Cyprus, then Paris, then United Kingdom, everywhere in the United Kingdom. Then I'll be off in Italy and Belgium and Netherlands. I'm going everywhere. Norway, Finland, Sweden. Go to jimjeffries.com. If you live in Europe, I am coming to you. If you live in the UK, I'm not missing any of it. If you're coming to the shows in Europe, Amos Gill will be opening. If you're coming to the shows in the UK, we have the fantastic Glenn Wool and Andrew Maxwell opening for me. So these are all king hitters. These shows are going to be killer. What do you got coming up, Gilly?
yes, that's right. I'll be going there with you. But before then, I am just pushing. I've just added Milwaukee on the 10th. I'm going to come to Milwaukee. If there's anyone in Milwaukee, I don't know how many people I know in Milwaukee. And then Chicago. I would love to see you guys at Zanies on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of July. I'm going to be in Chicago next 2 weeks. But Chicago people, hit me up. It's my favorite city. I'd like to fill it. My in-laws are coming. And if I don't sell this one out, I really believe my father-in-law he'll probably tell me it's time to join him in the steel business.
Oh, yeah. If you ever asked to take Annika's hand in marriage and have to ask the father first, I please record that conversation. I need to hear that conversation more than anything in the entire world. Just maybe when you are a bigger comedian and you are more fun and this and that, but you are going nowhere. Like, I want to hear that.
Well, I'm looking at him right now. He goes for an evening walk and he always asks me to walk the dogs around the farm. And I'm thinking of the proposal at the moment. And I guess he keeps asking me because he thinks I'm going to pop the question to him. How do you phrase that, by the way?
Well, don't.
As we're on this podcast. He doesn't listen. He just kind of.
But your wife will listen. Bro.
Oh shit, dude! My wife will listen. She's already planning our wedding. I haven't even proposed.
I sent my father-in-law a direct message on Facebook was how I asked him, because I was doing it. And then I went, oh, good. I probably should ask the dad. I probably should ask. Right. I didn't think about it. I probably should ask. And then it was the middle of the night in the UK. And I go, if you wake up in time, I can't remember my exact words, but they seem to like me enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start the podcast.
You certainly take care of your wife.
Yeah. This could be another podcast. All right. Let's start. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going. What have you got for us today, Gilly?
That's the start, eh?
We've already done the intro. We've already talked about what's going to happen. We would have said things like our dates and stuff just then.
Well, I'm here in the cigar lounge of my in-laws'
I know.
house.
This is like you're the worst type of Republican. It's like if people just pull themselves up from their bootstraps, and you're looking at pictures of men who have pulled themselves up from their bootstraps 250 years ago.
That's Blue Boy. That's Blue Boy.
Who's Blue Boy? You're cutting out. Well, who's Blue
Don't
Boy?
be attacking Blue Boy.
Who's Blue
Blue
Boy?
Boy's a beautiful piece of art, and you can see that in Los Angeles in one of the galleries over there.
Oh, so they have a print in the gallery, and you have the original?
Yeah, well, we just throw them off here and keep it in Kankakee, Illinois, on my girlfriend's corn farm.
I would have thought that your girlfriend's family would have been growing cotton for some reason, but here we are. They're out in the corn.
Don't accuse my girlfriend's family of racism. They've actually come from Germany, when racism has never happened.
Yeah, they escaped persecution, or what? Or what do they call it? They escaped persecution, or as they pronounce it, the American military that were coming to get them.
Well, there was a really evil regime at Nuremberg that tried to scare them off.
Yeah.
And we came here to build rockets. No, I am here in Kankakee on the farm. Spectacular right now to be here in the summer.
What a good place to spend 4th of July.
For people who don't know, I'm in the area around Chicago. So it's just flat plains of corn. And it does feel very American for the 4th of July. I don't know if you've ever gone out to the American country, but...
Mate, I was just gigging in Bristol, Virginia.
I was with you.
And
Yes.
I was in Rockford, Illinois, which is in the country, but Bristol, Virginia, I was out in the boonies, man. And the people couldn't have been nicer. And I'm going to talk about that at the end because I had a bit of a problem getting home from Bristol, Virginia. I could have gotten home faster if I lived in England or anywhere in Europe. I could have gotten into the Ukraine whilst organizing visas and permits faster than I got home to LA from Bristol, Virginia.
Dare I say you're foreshadowing a cunt of the week?
Cunt of the week. It's
We
an
will be
airline.
getting to
Try to think what airline it is, and it's not Spirit, and it's not Southwest. Leave them alone. They're reasonably priced airlines that are trying to do a job. It's one of the more premium ones, being a cunt of the week.
I've said
And
this forever.
I'm still waiting for my money back from them. I'm fucking angry, and I'm angry at the staff at the airport in Charlotte. If you're a Charlotte airport employee, I have fucking words for you as well. I'm worked up about the whole thing. But hey, I'm not going to let it ruin my day. How have you been?
Well, the best part is I said, how come you, unlike many of the major famous comedians, don't ever fly private? And you said, there's no reason at all. 24 hours later, you were in the same airport, probably thinking, fucking hell.
There's reason to do it, but let's say...
Economy.
Yeah, okay. So I'll tell you the fucking story, right? So what happens is I'm flying back. I have to drive 2 hours from Bristol to Knoxville to get to the airport. That's fine. That's whatever the distance is. Me and you have a rental car. We drop the rental car. We get on the plane. You're going off to Chicago to appraise all the artwork in the house and check
polish some steel
and check on your in-laws' health. And I'm there coming back and I get on the plane and they go, oh, we're going to be late to Charlottesville. Now, Charlottesville's a hub.
Not Charlottesville.
Charlottesville's a hub for neo.
You've got racism in your head again.
Yeah. Okay. So I was flying from Charlotte to Charlottesville, and they wouldn't take my Burning Cross hand luggage. No. So what happened was I was going to Charlottesville, Knoxville to Charlottesville. My flight from Knoxville to Charlottesville has been to Charlotte has been delayed. I get there delayed. Eventually, I show up. I get onto the plane, and then they go, hey, and Charlotte is a huge airport, massive airport, hub for American Airlines. This is all American Airlines. I could have run and got my original flight, but they already sent me a text going, we don't think you'll make it. Get on this next one. They moved me to another flight, right? And I'm like, fair dues. I'll stop off and I'll.
Yeah, but they say that to all passengers because there's old people that can't shuffle there. You could have.
I wouldn't have. I was super high as well. This is how long I was on my flights last Sunday. I'll tell you some landmark moments, right? I left on Sunday and I was still at the airport when Chick-fil-A reopened, right? If you know anything about
something to look forward to on a Sunday delay.
If you know anything about Chick-fil-A, do not open on Sundays, but they do open at 4:30 in the morning on Mondays to start for their breakfast rush. And I will say that I was expecting to get home to LA at 5 p.m. So here we are. I get over to Charlotte. I don't make it to the hotel. I stop off. I think to myself, I'm high. I think I'll get myself a Cinnabon. I ate me Cinnabon and walked like with a fork in it. Fantastic dessert. It can't be right. Food. It's one of the greats. Now, this is how long I was delayed on this flight. I got high 4 times in one day and sobered up each time and got high again. I didn't top up because I thought this will be my last high, right? And anyway, so get on the next plane. It's an hour and a half late before it arrives. Sorry for the late arrival of your plane, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and you texted me, fucking still here at the airport. And I feel guilty because I made you get to the airport a little earlier because my flight was earlier. And we wanted to go to Buc-ee's to get a brisket sandwich. And I said, don't worry, you'll be home in LA soon. You'll have a good brekkie back there.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Buc-ee's because Buc-ee's had a sausage that was about 1.5 feet long wrapped in a tortilla on a stick. And you know when you look at something and go, you can't eat that. And then I regretted not getting it for days. I kept on thinking about it. I kept on thinking about this sausage on a stick with a tortilla. I don't know if anyone can get the picture of the Buc-ee's sausage on a stick.
No shit. I had 15 minutes to make it to my flight and we're driving and we see the Buc-ee's sign and Jim goes, you definitely can't. We couldn't get that, could we? We couldn't because of your flight. But we couldn't. Could we? We probably could we? You'll just have to run.
Yeah, and I let Amos drive us on the way back, so he was controlling the vehicle. Otherwise, he would not be in Chicago in the cotton fields right now. Anyway, yeah, there it is. That's the bucky. Look at that. It's a sausage on a stick. It does what it says. Fantastic. And I wanted one, and I've been thinking, I still want one. If anyone can mail me one. Anyway, so I get on the plane. Oh, we're running a bit late. We get on the plane, hour and a half late. We get on the plane, right? Fine, whatever. We're sitting there. I get my water when I come on. Now, this is a pivotal moment in the story because I only got one water, and I got one because I was in business class. The rest of the flight was whatever.
Ooh. Flight was supposed to leave at what time, and you got on the plane at what time?
We were supposed to leave at 4 p.m. on the flight, and I was meant to get on like a 3 p.m. my original flight, but I was pushed back to a 4 p.m. So it was no big deal, right? 4 p.m. I now got on the plane 5:36 o'clock. 5:36 o'clock.
Annoying, but these things happen.
We then proceeded to sit on the runway because they reckoned that the tow bar was disconnected and they had to get a part, right? The tow bar.
So, what do you mean by that? The plane is going to be towing something off the
when
back,
the plane,
it gets towed?
No, the plane gets towed out of the spot. Surely it just has a reverse gear shift, right? Surely, with all the technology that goes into these planes, you can't have a clutch or anything, right? You can't, Anyway, so there was no tow bar for the little truck to tow the plane out, and they were fixing it, and the guy was like this, and it won't be a moment. We've just been told by maintenance it'll be 30 minutes maximum. We'll have you up there as soon as possible. Silver lining, though, bit of a silver lining today. Silver lining that there was a weather pattern coming up that we would have to fly around. Because we have stayed here for so long, that weather has gone away. So we'll make up a little bit of time in the air. We're sorry it's taking you so long. Thank you for flying American.
And, of course, you at this point off your chops high, crying that you're not eating that sausage.
Yeah. I'm like, as soon as we get in the air, they're going to give me more food. All I've had is a Cinnabon. Let's go. Right. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and then I don't know what this guy was talking about before, but he said another 30 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm as confused as you are. I really am. But we'll be up in the air as soon as possible. Just sit back and relax. Right. So he sat back and relaxed, and then another half hour, then another half hour, then another half hour. Right. Now we're at 8 or 9 p.m. We've been sitting there since 5:30. We've just been sitting there doing nothing. Been doing nothing for 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours.
You've got to be grateful you're not doing that with it. Imagine doing that with Tazy and the kids.
Oh, there was a family on the flight that had 3 kids under 7. They were I said to them, I said, "You're warriors. You're fantastic, you people. Well done, you." Right? And the kids were so well behaved. Anyway, the lady who's our air stewardess, right? She's like this. Oh, I'm going to have to stay in LA for the night. I won't be able to fly back. We're meant to be complaining to you. I don't want to hear how your fucking day has been ruined by the company that you worked for, right?
They put us in the DoubleTree in Marina Del Rey. It's awful.
Now, then it got to about 10 p.m., right? And no one had got any waters, and people started yelling out, "We need water! We need water!" They didn't do fucking shit, right? A guy comes on from food and beverages, and we're like, all right, what's this guy got to say? And he goes, "I'm just speaking to the people in business class." And we're like, oh, yeah, maybe we get an extra special plane or something. What's going on here? And he goes like this. So you won't be getting a meal on this flight, which none of us give a fuck about now. We're just like take off, right? You won't be getting a meal on this flight because the meal was salmon, and it's been sitting in the heater for too long, and we don't feel in good conscience that we should give you that food because you might get sick, right?
Yeah.
And
how did your high brain take that?
I was like, we got to take off. Now we've been there for like 4 hours, right? Now it's heading up to 10 o'clock, right? And it's like, okay, fine, we won't have a meal. Some Australian bloke who's taking the piss. There was some Australian blokes there that were from some gold mining company type of thing who'd worked out at somewhere out at Knoxville. And sorry. Sorry about that. Some Australian blokes, he goes, then the salmon will make you sick, right? And the Australian bloke goes, "I'll have a salmon," right? Hilarious. Hilarious. Love him, right? Right? Everyone in business has a laugh. And the guy who's telling us doesn't have a laugh for long becomes very school teacherish. And he goes, "All right, fine." He goes, "We can wait for catering, but you'll all be sitting on the runway a lot longer, or you could just not have your meal. What would you rather?" right?
And
The guy's like this. We're just having a laugh. We're like school teacher. We'd like to take off, sir. Yes, please, sir, take off.
Just give me a good boy.
Yeah. Just give us the fucking water, man. Anyway, so they go a few more tinkering around, and then the guy goes, "Hey, you can get off the plane if you want. Just be back within 30 minutes. It's going to be another 30 minutes if you want to go off and use the bathrooms or buy some food out there or something like that." And I'm like,
well, that should be a hint that it's
you just cut out. That should be a hint. You cut out the word hint.
Way more fucked than that. Like the hint is if they let you off, it's way more fucked than they're telling you.
Oh yeah, there was conspiracy theorists on the phone. There was on the plane. There was people who were looking at their phone going, "Oh, America's had problems with their computers recently, and this has been happening to a lot of their flights. It's got nothing to do with the tow bar, right?" There's a few people doing that.
There's another guy who's like, "Vaccines cause autism." You're like, "We're not into that one right now, mate."
Right.
We're looking at Flight Radar.
So here's what happens. He goes, "You can get off the plane." We get back on. I don't get off the plane because I'm worried I'm gonna miss the thing, right? And then the guy goes, "Yeah, look, the plane's stuffed. This is 10 o'clock."
In those words?
Yeah, he doesn't say. He goes, "The plane, they can't fix the problem with the tow bar. Everyone's going to have to unboard. We're going to get you a new plane." Right? So the plane rolls away. So it came back up. I saw it rolled away, went off somewhere, and then it came back again. Then another plane came back. Right?
Well, here's what I don't get, by the way. At this stage here, after 5-6 hours or whatever, surely you're entitled to go, "I'm fucking going into Charlotte and you'll book me on something tomorrow."
Isn't that
better?
You were allowed to do that, but you kept on being told 30 minutes, right? So anyway,
I hate that.
There was people who were offered because our plane was overbooked $850 to get a different flight. Those people got the plane after us. They got home 7 hours before me, and they got $850.
Oh. Mate, if we were traveling with Forrest, he would have been home.
He would have just been like, "I'm
with $250.
Paid a woman to massage my feet." Anyway, so
he does that every time. Every time Forrest is waiting in.
But the money goes up as they wait, and he looks around to see if there's any needy people, and he sort of plays it like a poker player. Like, when do I strike? When am I going to get my maximum?
I'm not kidding you. I did this the other day. I was coming home from Dallas, and there was an offer for $400, and Forrest literally went in my earphones for 30 minutes like he was my wheel man in a CIA movie, telling me exactly what to say and when to say it.
Yeah.
He's like, hold up. Now tell me, what are we looking at? A family? Yeah, then 4 seats isn't going to work. You got to slide in right now, say 350, but I've got to be direct. Say, I've got to be direct, 350. You'll get it. I swear to God, you'll get it. I got it. I got the flight credit.
Anyway, so they go, you all have to go and get off the flight. You'll have to get off the flight. We're going to get a new plane. You're going to have to get off the flight. Okay. All right, fine. So we get off the plane, and then a new plane comes. Yeah. Right.
And at this point, it's too late to switch for Delta or United.
No.
Like that,
yeah. I'm in a hub. I can't get. I have to fly American. I'm at the American hub, right? So I get back onto the plane, and they go, "All right, we're good to go." Right? And we wheel off, and off we go. We all start clapping as we leave the gate. We're all like clapping and stuff.
Have you made a friend at all?
There's an Australian bloke sitting next to me.
Just the salmon man.
Yeah, and he's in another seat. They all work for the same company though. There's all Australians at the front for some reason. Anyway, so we start wheeling off. Everyone starts clapping. We go up the runway, and then we just stop. We're just waiting for a takeoff time. Blah blah blah. We're waiting for a takeoff time, and now it's midnight now, right? It's midnight. It's fucking midnight, right? We're waiting for a takeoff time, and I'm like, all right. So we're lining up. We stop, and then the guy goes, I have a little bit of bad news for you. We're about to take off. We're actually just 2 planes away from taking off, but the problem we have is that because of the law, a pilot can only fly in certain hours, and
they're over their shift.
We've exceeded the shift time that the two pilots can do, we're going home. Whereupon I physically saw that air stewardess that didn't want to go to LA just sort of go, yes, to another air stewardess, right? They're happy as shit. They're going home. I reckon that they stood on the runway a little bit longer than they had to so they could get out of the fucking flight. Then we have to wait for another. So we get off the plane now. By the time we just board, 12:30 at night, right? I left the house at 11, right? So 12:30 at night. And we get off. I line up to get my $12 voucher. I get to the front of the counter at 1, and I'm standing there, and the lady's like, okay, well, you're all going to get food vouchers. The whole airport's fucking shut. Food vouchers for what, right?
$12?
Yeah, $12. A bottle of water was $6.80, right? $6.80 for a small bottle of water at the airport. They're giving us $12 fucking American, right? So anyway, so she goes, and I said, I just was in the line. I said, can everyone get some water, please? Can you get us all water? They didn't offer us water on the plane. There's families here with kids. No one's had any water for hours, right? And she goes, please don't yell at me. And I said, I'm not. And then another lady went, he's not yelling, right? And I was like, thank God. Right? Right? Because I was hoping I wasn't, because you never know. Like, it's hard for me.
Well, when you relayed the story to me, I was like, he was yelling. I'm fucking parched.
No, I didn't swear. I said, I haven't sworn it yet. We're all standing there like, so I get my $12 voucher. Now it's 1 o'clock. The next plane they're giving us is at 5 a.m., right? 5 a.m. So there's no time to go to an airport. There's no time to go to a hotel. There's no time to do anything else. There's just a few hours to kill. So everyone just sort of there was no shops open. Everyone just put their bags on the floor, laid down. We all started sleeping in the middle of the airport, right? Anyway, eventually, one shop reopens where you can spend your voucher. Cinnabon starts baking again. I had a double Cinnabon day. Do you know how rare 2 Cinnabons are a day? It's 880 calories a Cinnabon. This is
I think illegal under RFK's new provisions in the Big Beautiful Bill.
This is a widowmaker of a day, right? So I went, fuck it, I have another Cinnabon. I need to find happiness here where I can. And my Cinnabon and a bottle of water, my voucher didn't cover it. I had to dip into my own pocket, right? They didn't give me enough money. It's more than $12 for a Cinnabon and a bottle of water. Anyway, so we get back on the plane. Here's the kicker for you. We get on the plane, 5 o'clock passes. Then they start going, oh, we need to clean out the plane. We have to do this. I'm going, clean out what? You're the only flight here. It's been sitting here 4 hours.
Smell. You've been stinking out the, everyone's been sweating in there, right?
Oh, you'd think, Amos. You'd think. We get back on the plane fucking stinks of salmon. Stinks of it.
A little salmon au poivre.
Because what's happened is
it's been poached.
They've left the salmon on the thing. It used to be in the warmers that kept it warm. Yeah. Now they let it cold and it's just sitting out there. And in the fucking morning, whatever, it's just started to stink up the plane. But you know what that means? Hey, we're going to get rid of this plane and get you a new plane. They never fucking got us a new plane. That was all bullshit. It was the same plane all along. They might have fixed the tow bar on it somewhere else, but they never got rid of the fucking salmon, the cunts, right? Anyway, we take off. Everyone applauds like we're leaving fucking, some Afghanistan. There's people hanging on to the
clinging to the bottom.
Yeah, clinging to the bottom. We're leaving a hostage situation in Beirut, and we've all just gotten free. You know what I mean? So we all land. I get home 8 a.m. Have you had that's a 24-hour flight travel day to get from Bristol, Virginia to Los Angeles. I could have gone anywhere in the world in that time. Well, anywhere.
I hope it makes you feel a little bit better because I hear at Glastonbury this weekend the singers were all saying justice for Jim.
The death to American Airways. That's what I heard.
Death to American Airlines.
Yeah, death. American Airlines doing this is enough to stop me going to AA again. I tell you, just from association.
Yeah.
I'll keep you up to date on this. I've sent an email to AA, not to American Airlines, and I'm
always good to check back in with sobriety.
But I did write to the email on the plane, and I did swear in the email. We've been here for fucking 8 hours, and we're fucking still here, and you haven't fucking given us water, you fucking cunts.
Not boding well for the I didn't swear at staff.
Oh, yeah. So I ring up I ring up okay. So you go to ring up. You go to ring up the customer service and go, hey, I'm really upset. Can I have a refund or some points or what are you going to give me? Right.
Well, why call them? Call Forrest. He'll walk you through it.
I ring them up. Now, Delta, my beloved Delta, I know what to do with them. They have the million milers number where they answer right away and they call you by your name. But I didn't have that with American. So I ring up American. I get through to a person and say, hey, I'd like to make they go bookings and reservations, right? And I go, I'd like to make a complaint. And they go, oh, we can't take phone calls for complaints, right? You have to fill in an online form. And I go, so you can take calls for buying tickets. You can take calls for buying tickets, for changing reservations. You can take my money, but if I want some of my money given back to me, you can't speak to me, right? Because it's really easy to book a flight online. That's the easiest bit, right? The refund is the hard bit, and now you're not doing it for me. And she goes, that's right, sir. And she goes, but everybody's in the same boat. You just have to fill out that form. I went, I'm blind. Right? Just told her I was a blind person.
You're blind, which is why you've called AA. But
yeah.
Anyway, go on.
And I went, I'm blind. I can't read the form, so you're going to have to do it for me. I have no vision. And she goes, are you really blind, sir? I said, I really am.
Yeah, I had 2 Cinnabons and I have got diabetes and have lost my sight.
Yeah. I thought I ate 2 Cinnabons today. I thought one of them was a Big Mac. I'm blind, right? And then she goes, well, you could get a friend to help you fill out the form. And I said, I think you can tell that I'm an unpleasant blind person.
I don't. Even the dog left.
Yeah, I'm a friendless blind. I'm a friendless blind. I need a refund. How are you going to help me?
Someone rescued the dog from me.
Yeah, and she was just like this. Well, I guess you can't get your refund. Oh, I guess I can't then.
So what have you written? Because this seems like Jack territory to me.
I told Jack, no, this is Jack can prove I did this. I said, I started by texting Jack, get me a refund. I've been on the runway for 8 hours. This is like the first time, right? Jack, get me a refund, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, I was so pissed. I was like, don't worry about it, Jack. I want to do it.
You're going to buy your own computer for the first time. I will learn what Gmail is. Yeah, that's fucking dog shit though. Like that's why the death by 30-minute delay is the worst, because you just want to call it and go, I'm off. I'm going into a hotel and we'll start again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But just keeping you around for that extra 30. I personally got to Chicago right on time and went to the F1 movie,
by the way, that's your cunt of the day, ladies and gentlemen. American Airlines. American Airlines, reach out to me on my social media if you would like to get this situation resolved. I will be sending emails daily. American Airlines.
Oh, at least you're not currently publicly tweeting a lot. I know you have before. Where do we sit with celebrities now tweeting? I love seeing an A-grade celebrity being like, at Bank of America, cannot open accounts. This is fucked, right?
Yeah, I did that with a bank once.
I
needed to get my money out. They wouldn't give me my money out. I lost my shit, and then eventually I tweeted them, and then they gave me my money. Right?
I think it's great when a celebrity's entire Twitter is just customer.
I do. Yeah, but that's the thing is, if only everybody in the world could be a celebrity for this exact reason, right? When you do it, when you tweet on a major platform, if you've got over 100,000 followers or whatever, and especially if you've got millions of followers, right? If you put out there, you go, hey, there was one I showed up for. I'd paid for the hotel room. I'd paid for the hotel room the night before. I was arriving on the Friday morning at 6 a.m. I'd paid for the Thursday night. Me and Jack have been down this road many, many times, right? You pay for the night before, you're showing up in the morning, and so that you can get the early check-in at 6 a.m., and because otherwise they make you check in at 3 or 4 in the afternoon sometimes, right?
Yes.
So I get to the hotel 6 a.m. I go, hi, here's my credit card. I got a reservation. I was coming in last night, and I always get Jack to ring, don't I, Jack? Jack rings him up and goes, he's coming in the morning, and they always go, no problem. They get rid of your room. If you don't show up by 1 o'clock, they just get rid of your room and they give it to someone else or what have you, right? So they'd booked out the whole hotel and they'd given up my room, and they said, well, I'm sorry, sir, you can have your reservation for tomorrow. And she goes, and check-in's at 2. And it's there at 6 a.m. And I'm like, I'm going to sit in your lobby for fucking...
Oh, was this Florida?
Yeah, 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours. I said...
Hey, you expect me to be here without a Cinnabon?
Yeah. And I said to her...
There better be a fucking cinnamon treat here for me. I said, I'm going to
walk back in this lobby and you're going to be standing there and you're going to hand me a fucking ticket. You mark my words, right? I was fucking pissed. I went up to a motel. I rang up Jack. I gave him a surf. And
you called me
yeah.
and you said, did you cancel the reservation? No, why would I do that? Everyone here can get fucked. Get me in the nicest hotel in Florida. I was like, that was it.
So I had to go down to a place where I checked into a computer screen with a bloke from India on the screen on his head like this, going, all right, I'll fucking check you in, right? And so I said, you're going to fucking let me back in, because I'd already paid for the room and everything. And the lady had already done that. I said, I already paid for the room, and she'd already gone straight. And I'd gone, this is bullshit. Oh, please don't swear at me. You know, and that please don't swear at me. And so I was like, I'll be back in.
Women do that in customer service and in relationships, which is they're wrong on point, but they police tone.
Yeah, they police tone. I don't need to be spoken to this way. There is no reason for this language. There is every reason for the language. I'm upset. That's by the way, that's why the language is invented.
Is this bad on me? But when I go to a shop and there's a sign that says abusive language to staff will not be tolerated, all I can think is
you're
staff are cunts.
Yeah, I always think you're understaffed. 100%. You're understaffed because no one abuses staff just out of nowhere. It doesn't come out of nowhere. Anyway,
I don't walk into hotels. Room now, you fucking dogs.
Yeah.
Something's happened.
I spend 150 nights a year in hotel rooms. I want to put that into context. 150 nights every year in hotel rooms. Half my life is in hotel rooms. I'm telling you about my worst moment right now, right? So I said, so I just tweeted out the DoubleTree fucking whatever it was, the DoubleTree in fucking Florida.
No. It couldn't be the DoubleTree because they give you a hot chocolate cookie on arrival. That would have satiated you.
That would have happened because. But anyway, whatever the hotel was, I said, you go get fucked, da. And then someone writes you right away as soon as you tag it. Hi, I just work for the PR for the thing. If I could help you with the assistance. And then I started showing photographs. Here it is. It's the Crown Plaza Hotel at 13051 Bell Tower Drive, Fort Myers. They can go get fucked to this day, right? So,
see, as a celebrity, you get to tweet and then people reach out to you. My mum has Yelped 1 million times and yet to get a response.
Well, yeah, the Yelp doesn't do anything. So I said, the guy rings me up and I explain what happens. And I said, blah, da, 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 da. And I said, there's a girl with brown hair. I'd like her to be standing in the foyer and give me the card. I walked back in. They were fucking there.
Now we're going to go from the celebrity complaints on Twitter to the celebrity complaints on the stage. We foreshadowed Glastonbury. I want to get into what's happening at this moment, Jim. Uh-huh. Did you watch Glastonbury over the weekend? Have you seen the funeral?
Oh, by the way, just to finish that story, they did have a room. I knew they had a room. Why could they got me into a room at 7 a.m., right? It's just, we don't have a room. She was just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. They did have a room. Because if they didn't have a room, then I wouldn't have been able to get into a fucking room, right? So she was just lying. If anyone's sitting back right now going, oh, she's just trying to do a job. Nah. It wasn't that. I'm in hotels all the time. She was taking joy in other people's misery. Bloody cow of a woman. Anyway.
Cow thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a real Australian term, a cow.
Cow of a woman.
My dad always used to, if my mother and my father were really having a fight, my dad would call her a cow. That was like the worst, bloody cow, like that, right there. And you got to understand that she called him stupid 3 or 4 times a day. So before you go, well, that's a bit mean, literally 3 or 4 times a day, she'd go, you're a fucking idiot to him. Anyway, but my dad would call my mother a cow. And he'd also, if you had to do a job that was a bit finicky, like tiling something, that was a cow of a job. Anyway, carry on. Glastonbury.
See, I had an uncle who said it's a swine of a job. Oh.
Yeah,
different regions, different regions. Animals,
same animal.
So Glastonbury, which is already year after year, there's a lot of musicians that will jump on the political moment and make their point heard.
I've performed at Glastonbury at least 8 times, and synonymous with Glastonbury is a lot of people having flags. Flags are different things. And people try to be a bit funny with their flags. And I saw a lot of Palestinian flags. Carry on.
Yes. So obviously that was going to be the issue because the BBC and Glastonbury decided to not broadcast Kneecap, the Irish rap group. Everyone who has any Irish friends would know that the Irish are very pro-Palestine. The Irish all around the world see they see the world in their own struggle with the British Empire, the Irish. So whoever they believe to be the small natives getting picked on by the colonial power.
Let's give it up to the OG terrorists of my generation, the IRA.
The IRA,
back in the day. Back in the day, they were the Manchester United of terrorism, and they've dropped off a bit, just like Manchester United. And then Man City was bought by a whole lot of Arabs. and they became number one. And which brings us to where we are now.
It'd be really interesting when like Chinese people become terrorists, like a Taiwanese struggle, like a Taiwanese terror group. We haven't got that yet, but it's probably coming into the future. But nonetheless, or Hong Kong, like a Hong Kong terror group.
Yeah, Hong Kong. Well, you got who is the Asian the triads is your gang members.
Yeah. Sorry, can you hear that?
Yeah, that's your.
I'm sorry, it's just the dreadful staff at the home being loud.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. Podcasting here. Yeah, okay, he actually. Fuck.
Can you not garden later? He did stop.
The guy stopped and looked at me like, "Sorry." I'm like, "Dude, this is not my house." I'm sorry. Oh, fucking hell. They're building a deck. Oh, yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, Kneecap was the group that Glastonbury was concerned about because a lot of record labels had got together and said, we want these people kicked off Glastonbury because of their support. They said of Hezbollah, potentially because of a scarf they wore, and they're very, very pro-Palestine, okay? As any artist can be pro whatever the hell they want. We're free speech, aren't we? Not so much in the UK. But they put this guy called Bob Villain on the BBC feed instead. This bloke, Bob Villain. Mm-hmm. So he's on stage. Did you see his performance?
I did.
Yes, you saw that. So he started off with the free Palestine. We've heard it all before.
From the land to the sea, Palestine will be free. Yeah.
And so then
it's a catchy catchphrase, but it hasn't really sold it. It's not as good as Brisbane's beautiful one day, perfect the next, but it gets there. From the land to the free, Palestine will be free. Yeah.
Free. Yeah, river to the sea. And so then he goes, but have you heard this? And he goes, deaf to the IDF.
Yeah.
Deaf, right? And then the crowd really kicked in on this one. Saw a few funny takes on this immediately on Twitter. One of them was, you guys think he's saying he wants to kill the Israeli Defense Forces. That's not true. He's merely saying people who have hearing difficulty should join that army.
Yeah, deaf to the IDF. Yeah.
So that, if I was his lawyer, I would say that's what you were angling at.
Yeah.
But obviously, it does show that there's a bit of a disconnect right now. There is severe anti-Israeli sentiment, obviously, for what's going on in Gaza. The young folks at Glastonbury, very pro this. Bob Villain, this man here.
How does it feel?
He said also
Bob Villain should be like Bob Dylan dressed as the Penguin. If I was going to market myself as Bob Villain.
Once upon a time, Batman used to think he was so fine. So he's been banned from America. His visa to the USA has been banned, which is an interesting one, isn't it? Because people
first of all, why would you throw your career away just for making? I imagine people have made a lot of political statements throughout history, and they're very happy they've done it. But I don't think that would make an ounce of difference. Him saying this at a concert, I think it just makes the world slightly more divisive than it was already. Whatever your opinion is on Israel, Palestine, I don't know if that's fucking helping.
But it's just weird to see where Glastonbury has gone because we always know musicians are going to have their takes. Yeah. However, I used to think of music festivals, and I've performed at lots of them like you have. Even the anti-war ones, it's like, we need peace and love, man.
Yeah, peace and love.
We need to make sex in our tents and get high and take acid and realize we're all just specks in the universe. But now it's like,
all you need is love.
To a military.
Yeah. What's your hot take?
No, my hot take is I think he's not saying death to the Israeli people, but there's definitely tones of anti-Semitism in there. But if you are saying death to a... Well, he's not saying to the Jewish people, but I can see how that's read into it, obviously. Yeah, but he's talking about the Israeli military.
I have relatives who are in the military. I performed for the military. I've been out to Iraq and Afghanistan. And what I will tell you about soldiers that I've known throughout my life, very few of them have any idea why they're going to any country to do any war, right? It's politicians that are doing it, and they're just people who are like, this is the job I've signed up for.
But let's say I was performing at a festival and I was singing and I did say,
if you wanted to say death to Netanyahu,
no, and I did this.
I
death
get
to
that,
the IRGC. Death to the IRGC, which is the the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is Iran's army. You wouldn't say I'm saying kill all of the Persian people. You'd say I'm saying we're going to fight you at a battlefield. Now, it's not, like we said, it's not chill vibes for a guy that's a Rastafarian. I'm just saying it's not very Rasta-like. That's my point.
What's wrong with a bit of all we are saying is give peace a chance, right?
Well, I think musicians realize they gave peace a chance and things keep getting worse, so now they're becoming a little more aggressive. All we are saying is get an AK-47 and shoot motherfuckers in the head. You're right. Things are bad right now, culturally. It's an aggressive time. You know?
Which brings us to other musicians. I don't know if you done talking about this?
No, the reason I was bringing it up is my visa's currently under review right now. Yeah. And I do think there's a serious point to be had.
So I wouldn't be getting the audio bites. Are you saying death to the IDF?
No, I'm not. Obviously, I'm not. I'm not into that. But I'm a softie. Don't have much of a revolutionary bone in my body when push comes to shove. I've got a lot of ideas. I've never really liked punk. I'm quite a look at me, dude. I'm quite a conservative guy. I like my little powder room where I can read my books and whatnot. I don't really like people being yelled about fucking murdering soldiers. But I do think it's a worry that America is heading into a direction where people are expressing their First Amendment rights to make political speech, and then they're denied entry into America. I've never even thought about that with America, that my views, even if they're extreme on the political scale, would stop me from coming to America. I mean, that is a different time.
Look,
Isn't it?
If they watch all my stand-up and every radio appearance that I've ever done, I don't know if in today's climate I would have gotten a visa to come into the country.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's America. I mean, America's strength is that it takes all sorts of artists who have come here over the years.
Give us your weak, give us your struggling, give us your unwashed, give us your guy with one leg and a hook on his hand. We'll take them all. We're American.
And your dreadlocks from this guy. By the way, have you heard of this guy's name? This guy's doing my fucking head in. This garden. He's going to cop it. I'm going to ask him where he's fucking.
Do you want to ring up eyes? What are you doing there?
He's white, so that's the problem. If that was a Mexican, he'd be bloody quiet.
Your in-laws are rich, eh? White construction. How?
Well, that's the problem with white construction workers.
Plenty of money, eh? You're doing all right, eh? Look at that.
White construction workers make all that. They really bang the hammers because they don't care if people realize they're here or not. The Mexicans are in and out with mufflers.
Well, I don't know I wouldn't speak like this if my visa was in the post. I wouldn't. I tell you what. I wouldn't. But good luck to you. Good luck to you. I hope you get everything you wish and everything you deserve.
Well, it hasn't come, dude. It hasn't come through, so I'm a little concerned.
Yeah. If there's someone listening down at the visa campaign place, put in a good word for Amos.
Live in the IDF.
Live in the US.
I just want everyone to survive, and my views are very moderate.
Now, another music thing that's happened is Will Smith's decided to bring out music again.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the last.
We talked about it last week.
We spoke. We played the song a couple episodes ago.
I've been listening to it all week and getting angry and angry.
Give me more.
No. I didn't know we already cut this out.
I'm sorry. This is going to be unbearable for people listening at home. They really dig it into the wood here with a drill.
Okay, so on the Will Smith song that we spoke about last week, right? He did one song called Pretty. I like pretty girls.
I like pretty girls.
Which, by the way, is not a song or a cover from the Village People. The Village People never brought out a song, Pretty Girls. Pretty girls, I'll take that one. This one's good too, Pretty Girls. But he had another song where it's just him and a hype man. And he says, you talk smack, you're going to get slapped. If you're all on the stage, I'm going to come up on the stage.
Yeah, expect me up on the stage.
Expect me up on the stage. Hey, Will Smith, you fucking cunt, right? All your apologies out the window, mate.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Cunt of the week, American Airlines. Are we saying
no? This contender? No. Will Smith's getting cunt of the decade, and I'm including people who have started wars. Yeah, cunt of the decade, Will Smith. I quote me on this. If I was cast in a movie with Will Smith, I would turn it down. I threaten any casting agent to put me in a movie with Will Smith to see what I'll do. I might have a change of heart. Who knows?
I've never heard a weaker promise. That will hold as true as an Israeli-Palestinian ceasefire.
I'm talking about Will Smith, the catcher from the Dodgers. If ever he goes into the movies, I'm not doing a movie with him. I'll tell that cunt right now. Stick to catching. But that he made somebody apologize in this weird world where, I don't know, why do people have these emotions? Why do I have all this bullshit he fucking said? And then to go, you speak smack, you're going to get smacked. And then in the song it says, I look at my Oscars, Emmys, Grammys and think I have every right to be arrogant. And it's like, fuck this cunt. Fuck it. I'll take him on his word.
He really does.
I'll take him on his word.
Fucking prick.
I'll take him on his word. If you say I make a smart ass comment about you, you are going to come up on stage and smack me in the face. Well, I've just said it on a podcast, you spineless cunt. Will Smith can fuck off. Now, it's weird because my mother-in-law is staying with us right now, and she fights against this so much. We disagree on very little.
Well, she loves Will Smith, does she?
She loves Will Smith. Can't not forgive Will Smith. I played her the song, and she's like, oh, that's not good. No, he shouldn't have said that. And then she always backs into like, oh, he must be going through something. Or you know what I mean? Like she's a Will Smith's apologist.
Well, Will Smith is
just walking around my house all day going, death to the IDF. She won't shut up, I tell you. So you've cut out.
I'm not a citizen of the United States, and so I don't have any ill will to Will Smith, who is a citizen. And I don't, to no harm do I wish to have on any citizens whatsoever of America. Big fan.
I would never challenge Will Smith to a fight because, he played Muhammad Ali. They would have taught him something. He
played Muhammad Ali.
They would have taught him something. He would have learned something. Jazzy Jeff, though, pick your place in time. Pick your place in time, Jazzy Jeff. I'll just do him as a proxy.
Right, we're going to do another topic now, and
He's
that's
Jeff Bezo. 60
Bezos.
Years old. Jazzy Jeff's got to be like, can't we do the Tick Tick Boom song again? Because who's the new Jazzy Jeff? Who's this bloke who's just?
What about you just give Carlton a good seeing to?
I'll tell you what. I think the lyrics in Kanye West's new song is more respectful than the lyrics in Kanye West's.
Will Smith's.
Will Smith's.
Which one? The one where Kanye West talks about sucking his own cousin's dick? Or
That's
the one.
That song. Sucking. I haven't heard the song. I assume he goes sucking my cousin's dick. Sucking my cousin's dick. cousin. Is that the song?
Jack, can we get that isolated for future use on the podcast, please?
If you've met my cousins, you would believe me because they're very cocksuckable. Hello, Mark. Hello, Paul. If you're listening.
Right, let's talk Bezos' wedding. This is the other big thing that's happening at this moment.
All right, so Jeffrey Bezos and his wife took over the city of Venice, right? Basically took over the whole place. Tourists couldn't get into main squares. They couldn't get into buildings. Some canals were completely cut off, like you would cut off streets for things. And him and his wife...
50 million, just so you know.
50 million feels cheap for what they did. Right? And also you invite Oprah. Do you think Oprah hangs out with Jeff Bezos?
Well, again, this is what I thought about that.
You know what I think it is? You get a good gift, don't you? You get a good present. I'd invite Oprah to my wedding as well.
You're recouping the 50.
Yeah. I reckon Oprah's got to give you a car minimum. But then again, you're Jeff Bezos. You don't need it.
But also,
do you reckon?
Does this guy have any real friends? Like, why does Jeffrey Bezos, a entrepreneur who started what was originally a book-selling website, who now has the biggest business to household delivery of goods business ever
known?
Why is Sydney Sweeney, some 25-year-old actress, in your wedding? Like, do you have no friends, you fucking loser?
Do you reckon she had on the invite, and every dress code is low-cut dress? Low-cut dress for everyone. And then Oprah's invite says this, dress up to the neck.
Yeah. I am now a Muslim. Please respect my faith. Inshallah.
But yeah, so he blocked it
But
up.
isn't
Now-
that sad? Like, why do you need to make all these celebrities attend your wedding? Yeah, who gives a shit, dude?
Well,
You're
it's
the
like
richest
that.
guy in the world.
It's like that Indian couple that was the richest people in the world. And you had John Cena wearing like a turban and shit, right? You had all these people like showing up that were celebrities, but they were being paid celebrities. I assume Sydney Sweeney was getting 50 grand to show up, or 100 grand, or $250,000, or $1 million, whoever, whatever, right? I don't imagine she
So lame.
has been friends with the Bezoses. And if you've ever met Jeff Bezos or whatever, I don't assume that she would get along with. He's a 70-year-old man who a bald guy who just sort of a bit nerdy, like nothing wrong with that. But I mean, I don't think a young movie star's like, and that's my friend. If the money wasn't involved, she wouldn't even fucking spit on him. Right. So that's just a monetary thing. That must feel very hollow. But what I don't get is taking over Venice, one of the crown jewels of the world, one of those beautiful, unique cities on earth with its canals and architecture and all that type of stuff. Why take that over when you could just take over an island? Like I once played golf on Lanai in Hawaii, which has a 4 seasons resort and one of the most stunning golf courses ever. And that's it. That's all. And on the 8th or 9th hole was where Bill Gates was married, right? Most beautiful view I've ever seen of the ocean. Bill Gates got married there. His whole group of people, no paparazzi. You just take the whole island. You take the 4 Seasons Hotel.
Well, you know, Bill Gates has got experience picking out islands. So.
No, but this is the thing, right? So, yeah, obviously Jeffrey Epstein's island's free to go. Why couldn't they all go there? That must be looking like an old Olympic park now. That must be covered in vines and shit like that, and all the claw marks on the doors. They must have been worn down by weather by now, surely.
Well, you would have thought maybe it's like Jeffrey Bezos has picked one of the most populated places to really go against seeming like a sicko Hollywood billionaire pedophile.
Oh,
He's
maybe
like,
that's
we'll
the
do it
point.
in front of everybody, right?
Now,
So
you know what I don't like about the media coverage, because they get into him for certain things. Like I didn't mind, and I mentioned the book, I didn't mind the women going up into space. That didn't mind me, and that's probably why Oprah was there, because Gail was there. And Oprah comes wherever Gail comes, and they normally come in the same room, from what I've been told. And so if
I've got no problem with bloody Jeffrey Bezos. He had a wedding worth $50 million in Venice, and I ordered a book the day before, and I got it at 9 a.m. out here on a fucking corn farm. The man delivers.
The man delivers, especially since half his staff were protesting in Venice at the time. Very efficient. Very efficient. What they're so efficient, I would argue that Jeffrey could pay his staff less. Like they're doing too good a job. Too good a job. Like you can't do that good a job and then still go, we deserve more money. You start underperforming. That's how you're going to get your wages put up. Anywho, right? So everyone gets into his wife. What's his wife's name? I don't know his wife's name. Brunette lady.
Lauren Sanchez.
Lauren Sanchez.
It's getting a little bit alien looking.
Okay, but she's in her 50s.
I know, but she would be good looking if she didn't have all the duck lips.
Yeah,
women have got a deranged view.
The women and the duck lips, that's all on women. There's no men, because if you ever kiss the duck lips really push back on you. There's no softness. They're terrible.
But what is the duck lips? Because women obviously think it looks good. Is it? Are we meant to look at that and think it's a cock-sucking
The thing
device?
about the duck lips is this, is there's some women who have zero lips and then get them and then do look better. And they're the ones you don't know, a la Kylie Jenner.
Right.
Look at a picture of Kylie Jenner when she was younger. She was a lipless individual. She had good lips done. She looked good. And then everybody goes, look how much that changed her whole face. It's a fairly uninvasive surgery. It's not like a nose job where you're out of it for a while. So they all give it a go.
But when it's bad, it's like it's laughable.
It's when that.
But obviously men do find the lips, because if you look at I say ancient, but like sex dolls from 50 years ago, like blow up dolls, it's always these gag lips.
This is for all the people who are teasing Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos going, first of all, he could go younger. He could go younger than a woman in his 50s, when a woman in her 50s.
This is classy for world's richest man.
For the richest man in the world has gone for a woman in her 50s, right? She has loads of plastic surgery, right? He could get a natural beauty who is a supermodel that we've all heard of. He could go for a famous supermodel that we've all heard of in their 50s, right? I'll tell you something about Lauren Sanchez. Never met the woman, but I can tell you, she fucks good. She is so good at bed. She's married the richest man in the world, and she's done it in her 50s. In her 50s, she's bagged the richest man on earth.
You say, so you're saying she could be the goat. She could be the goat. She could be the goat.
I think she's swinging on chandeliers, doing a backflip and landing on his cock, and then just with the big lips going like that, right? That's what I reckon's happening, and he's just blowing his load, going. He didn't think he'd get erections until he met her.
Hey, you're right. Jeff Bezos getting a lot of heat, unfair. Okay, so let's put this together. Who's the billionaire that we hate, right? Jeffrey Epstein goes to a isolated island and fucks kids.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos goes to a place where millions of people are.
Overpopulated place.
And fucks a woman his own age.
Yes.
And people are still unhappy. Yeah. I'm starting to think a billionaire can't do a good thing in this fucking society anymore.
People just don't like rich people.
What do you want him to do? Pay his taxes? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's what you want him to do. The only thing wrong with Jeff Bezos is he doesn't pay the taxes. He gets your fucking deliveries on time. He's doing sweatshop labor for the staff, which is what we're trying to bring back to this country.
He's rooting a frankly ancient woman.
Yeah, he's having sex with a relic. I can't believe she wasn't found in the catacombs underneath the fucking library of Venice, like Last Crusade.
He's man of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
For his net worth to age of woman he's fucking. What a saint. Saint Jeffrey.
We are but that just shows you, if only he had a full head of hair, the woman he could have got.
Oh, my God. Dude, you can be worth $300 billion, but if you're a bald-headed cunt, you got to fuck a woman who's 60.
Poor Jeffrey.
So, obviously, people are making fun of the lavish expense of $50 million or whatever else it is. At the same time that this was going on, a out and out, basically, he would probably describe himself as a communist or at least a democratic socialist, as being picked as the mayor of New York City.
Yeah, mayor of New York.
As the Democratic candidate who beat Cuomo. And this guy is 33 years old and does have a lot of communist principles, government-run grocery stores, rent freezers, very popular amongst the young. And people say, how is it that a communist is potentially going to take power in America? And you go, well, we're broadcasting a $50 million wedding of billionaires, and there's over 150 private jets that flew in for it. People might be a little fed up with that, maybe.
Okay, I don't like this new guy trying to become mayor, and I'll tell you why, right? Because he's doing this whole, we have to tax the 1%. Now, this is going to make me sound like a complete cunt, right? I've already complained about my business class flight that took too long today.
And you've got a Rolex on. Take that watch off.
Put that down there. And I've already complained about that. I've already complained. I pay all my taxes. I pay over 52% in taxes in this country, right? When I get my state income and all that type of stuff. Then I pay commission and all that type of stuff. I get, about a third of every fucking dollar I get reaches my pocket, right? I pay so much in taxes, it's getting ridiculous to live in California and arguably ridiculous to live in America, the amount of taxes that I actually pay. The 1% are being taxed. Don't fall for this bullshit that the 1% aren't being taxed. It's the 1% of the 1%. It's Jeff Bezos that isn't being taxed. It's Donald Trump who hasn't paid his fucking taxes. I don't have any offshore line things. I'm paying over 50%. Stop getting angry at me and thinking I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. It's great big corporations. People like me are paying most of the taxes in the fucking country, right? So,
there's a big difference between taxing labor and taxing wealth, right? So when you earn money as a performer, even though you're earning a lot, you're paying 50% on that. I think somewhere that people want to start to tackle is people that just earn on interest accounts. They don't actually work. It's all in big trusts, and they put their money in safe havens, and then they don't get taxed on it. Or corporations have offshore accounts. But my argument, that's what they're getting angry at.
Just this blanket statement: 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. The top 1%, the top 1%, the top of the top 1%. You start taxing the Amazons of this world and actually find, and I know they're doing nothing illegal. I know Donald Trump did nothing illegal. They found loopholes. Get rid of the fucking loopholes, and let's start taxing the people who really need to be taxed. But I don't think this. I
think Zoran Mamdani, this guy, he had one idea.
To live in a country that's all about aspirations and trying to get to the top and trying to live the American dream, and then when you're doing it, having the rest of the society tell you you're a piece of shit, is fucking weird to me.
Yeah, well, this guy Zoran. Do you know anything about him?
I know that
He was a rapper.
He is an immigrant who has only been a citizen for 6 years, much like myself.
Yes, his dad is a lecturer at Columbia University. So his enemies are painting him as a, trust fund LARPing communist.
I will tell you this right now. New York State doesn't need any more tax. They're doing as hard as California. We need him to be the mayor of somewhere fucking that has no state income tax or pays very little or whatever. But the people of New York are paying plenty of taxes.
But also the Democratic Party or the establishment, if they're upset about this, then they probably shouldn't have run a mayor whose famous words were, "I'm not a pervert, I'm just Italian," in Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
That was who they wanted to win, which will be my favorite quote of all time. I'm not a pervert, I'm just Italian.
Yeah, Italians with the hey principessa, hey boom boom boom, they can't help themselves.
How about stop putting corrupt people?
Someone's gonna have to find out what's in their pasta, man, because it does make them go like that. If you're a girl in Italy, they reckon you can't walk 50 meters without being bothered.
Yeah, but it's is it nicer to be wolf whistled by an Italian or by an Aussie? I'd go with
you could start going like, I don't smell, I'm just Croatian. You could say that as a little thing. That would be a thing that you could do. By the way, on the European tour, I got to give it up to the Croatians. Zagreb? Zagreb is the one of 4 or 5 of the shows that have already sold out on the tour, and we're going to try to find a space to put another one. Thank you, Zagreb. I've never been to Croatia. I really appreciate you showing up. I don't know. It's my little friend here that's actually helped me out. I'm not sure.
My community has seen the way you've taken kindly to this wide-headed Croat, and they see your kindness.
I've always thought your wide head is why your mother's so grumpy.
What, for the splitting?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I wouldn't have said this. I wouldn't have said the splitting about my own mother. Holy hell, what a terrible thing.
No, I meant the splitting up with my father.
Hey, Trots, if you're listening, I'm sorry about how your son treats her.
Yeah. So anyway, this Mumdani guy is gonna be the mayor. Now they'll probably get behind Eric Adams. I'm trying to write a sketch. I'm doing my SNL writing packet at the moment, which when I try to write a sketch today about if Jesus Christ came back and ran for mayor of New York, he would be far more shocking. That he would actually be the most hated candidate ever because New York runs on finance, and he threw the moneylenders out, so Wall Street would hate him. And then he also was not into pride and homosexuals, so he'd probably poll at about 1%.
Yeah. I think he was into homosexuals. I don't think there's a world where Jesus didn't like the gays, hanging out with 12 men and all that.
Well, he's probably worried his dad was watching,
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to be a closeted homosexual where your father is omnipotent.
I always thought that with like dead relatives when they were like, oh, she'll always be watching. She'll always be watching over you. The amount that I masturbate, I hope no one is paying any attention to me in my own time. Can you imagine if that was like you die and then your privilege in life was looking at your relatives 24 hours a day? Going, oh, there we go. There's grandma getting done by Mavis with a strap on. Fuck it, hell, nothing I knew about.
I'm sure Caroline will be looking down on you smiling as you complain tonight, writing a 10,000-page letter complaining about American Airlines.
I don't even want money from American Airlines. I just want them time and wasted manpower from them. I'm really just seeking revenge.
Well, I've got a speed round for you as well of a couple of other stories I've seen. So some quick takes from you. This one really hurt my feelings.
Did you like the mayor in New York? Just quickly, you like the mayor in New York? The new one that's coming in.
I mean, probably not. Probably I'm far more, particularly for New York City, more of a free marketeer in New York City, the home of world finance. But I think things are we're at a breaking point, and we are splitting to fascism and communism, and this is symptomatic of what I think is going to continue to happen. So you'll see more of this. That's what I think. But I've tried to move to New York, and it's fucking unaffordable unless you are a trust fund kid. So that's where I'm at with New York. Seems like that dream's out of reach for everybody. Here is...
I feel like the whole city's the top 1%. Anyone who can live in Manhattan. Like literally anyone who owns property in Manhattan, no matter how small the flat, is the top 1%.
Yeah, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. They say that for a reason. It's crazy real estate. But then again, it's like I don't feel entitled to live in New York. I'm an immigrant. I can't afford it.
Who's the ones voting for him? It's all the people who are out apartments who shouldn't be living there anyway because they can't afford to live there. There's some places on earth you can't afford to live. Not everyone has the right to live in New York.
Well, I certainly don't. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at Austin.
Yeah. You have the right to live in Austin.
That's as good as I'm going to get.
Tax free.
Okay, so I want to do a quick speed round of some stories for you. This one's devastating. France
Oh, yeah, that is sad.
has banned smoking outside at restaurants.
What are you talking about? This is the only he is the only country that I know where the cigarette is still. I was talking to my mother-in-law, and she said the other day, Hank said, "Has anyone ever lived over 120?" And I said, "No, Hank." And then she said, "Yes, Hank, people have." And I was like, this moron. And I Googled it, and one lady had lived to 121, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't people. So Becca, my mother-in-law, was completely infactual. She made a fool of herself saying that people had, because there's only one person, so egg on her face. But the woman who lived to 121, 122 was a French lady, right? Smoker till the end.
Some people, they're just meant to live, dude.
She had champagne and a cigarette on her 121st birthday.
Yeah, because the food isn't poison there. The food of America, I'd rather smoke and have black coffee in America than eat any of the bread.
Yeah. Now, all the people who lived over 110 have been women. There's no man who's done it. No, we haven't been able to.
Could you imagine how grumpy and racist a 120-year-old?
If I was a 120-year-old man, my joke would just be like this: I like younger women.
I don't do age appropriate. I like them around 100.
You know that rule about at what age you can date women? It's meant to be half your age plus 7. So if there's any 67-year-olds, woo.
Yeah. All right. So no more take. You don't smoke anymore, so it doesn't bother you, but it bothers me because we're going to Europe, and that's where I smoke. I whip the. I'm such a fucking cliche. As soon as I get to Europe, I buy a pack of cigarettes. I get espresso.
I've never met a culture that smokes more than the French. And the only other cultures that smoke on the same, when I was in Macau, there's some
Chinese people in a casino is something to behold.
More impoverished Asian countries smoke a fair bit. The Japanese have really wiped it off their street. You have to go into little booths and side alleyways and stuff like that. They've all gotten rid of it. But there's some sort of second world Asian countries that smoke a heap. And in the first world, just France. France is number one with the cigarette. They fucking love the cigarette. It's still cultural. Like in Canada the other day, the filters say you're going to die. So you actually have to look at the words "you're going to die" as you pull it away from your mouth and go, "I'm dying and dead." Right? So, but France is the king of cigarettes. Steve Hughes used to do a very good routine on French smoking. If you ever get him to do it. It's one of his old routines. I don't know if I should repeat it because he might still be doing it on stage. Right. But the premise was basically a guy visiting his mother in hospital while smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, well, you got to feel bad for the French who right now they're about to have sex with a 14-year-old girl legally, but they can't even light up a cigarette afterwards. It's
because you can't smoke in front of minors.
Isn't that still weird? Like what I think of with France is not just great food and sort of arrogant people, but a shelter for pedophiles worldwide.
A shelter?
Yeah, Mr. Polanski.
Oh, yes. Oh, they take the people in, yes.
They take the pedos in. They really. I'm surprised Woody Allen doesn't live there.
He seems like the type, but
does he not seem like a guy that should be in Paris?
Woody's been a pedophile for so long. His pedophilic wife has gotten old.
Yeah, no, that's the benefit of them staying together. People go, "He's a pedo. He fucked that person." They go, "What? The one with the Zimmer frame?" Like he really outlasted the allegations. Okay, so last round, I don't know how long we've got left.
As long as you want, Amos. As long as you want. We have no snake talk today because the snake isn't on this week. I know some people write to us very angry about the snake. People write to me and go, "I don't want to listen about the snake. I'm not going to watch the snake." First of all, why aren't you watching the snake? The snake's awesome. Snake's a lot of fun. Watch the fucking snake. But what we always put it at the end of the podcast. You can just stop the podcast. No one's stopping you. So it's like in the last there's only about 15 minutes of an hour and 15-minute podcast. We still give you an hour and we just slap the snake on the end for the people who like the snake. Stop getting so fucking
I'm very relieved we don't have a snake interview today because right before we turned on the Zoom to do this, I went, fuck, I didn't watch the episode. I'm going to be an absolute cunt on this week's episode talking to the guest. And then I was happy to find it wasn't an episode.
I don't think you. Well, we already know. I already know what happens next. I know. We've completed the whole season, so I know what happens. But we have a great guest for next week who is very entertaining on next week's episode. But that's all I'm gonna. That's right. All I'm gonna tease.
Now, we get sick of talking about Donald Trump all the time, but my God, this is a news podcast. This is what it's got to be. Let's do 2 Trump stories. This is one of him talking today. By the way, he's wearing a Gulf of America hat now. That's his new merch. Right. Here he is talking about his favorite enemy, shower heads.
The water doesn't come out. They have a restrictor. You can, in areas where you have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. You have a shower head. The shower doesn't. You think it's not working. It is working. The water's dripping out. And that's no good for me. I like this hair I like that hair nice and wet. Makes you have to stand in the shower for 20 minutes before you get the soap out of your hair. And I put a thing in, and it sounds funny, but it's really not. It's horrible. So the water doesn't.
Okay. As a man with thin, wispy hair, I have to stand up for another man with thin, wispy hair. This is where I always stand up for Donald Trump. It's his hair and his skin color. Right? As a pale man who got called Casper at school with thin, wispy hair that looks like the head of Sloth from the Goonies, you need high pressure to get the shampoo out. If you don't get all the shampoo out, your hair looks even limper and lamer. The balding man needs the high. I know it feels like people with more hair need the high pressure. It's not. The more thin your hair, the higher the pressure.
Really? I would have thought you'd be worried about the high pressure sort of blasting what's left.
No, you get rid of those ones. If they don't want to be around me, I don't want to be around them. Go. Be free. Fuck off.
I agree with him also on water pressure. These water-saving, dripping, just a little bit of spittle that you get from these eco shower heads. No good.
No good. And also, you have to stay in the shower longer, as he said. You have to get. I had this apartment in London, and it just spat. If you turn the shower head upside down, it didn't have enough pressure to the water to go upwards. And then you had to put your thumb over it to make it a bit more pressury. And I kept on saying to my landlord, I said, "Can we get like a pump up here?" I was like, if I had my time over again, I would have just paid the $400 to put a pump in there and make it high pressure. Because then when I said I'm moving out of the flat years later, he came up and put a pump in for the next people. And I had 2 weeks of the greatest shower on earth. Like, it just made me angry. I was just standing there going, I could have fucking had this the whole time.
I shit you not, my dream shower scenario is super hot water being sprayed on me like there's been a chemical spill in a lab. And I'm being hit by a giant hose. Like it's almost torture. I like my skin to borderline peel off. I like to be exfoliated by water.
You want to be washed like you're a circus elephant.
Yes, I do. With 2 guys from Azerbaijan.
Where someone just comes and lifts your ear back, gets in there. That's how you want to be showered.
Yeah, so I've always agreed with Donald Trump on those little issues. But
this is where Donald Trump wins the everyday man, right? The shower head sucks. Let's get plastic straws back, right? These are the little things that he can bomb Iran. He can have whatever issues going on in Israel, whatever issue is going on in Israel. He can fucking charge you tariffs. He can do whatever he wants.
Dude, he could bomb Toronto, and if I've got a clean head of hair and a sippy cup that I'm getting all of the water, you're going, that sucks.
Yeah. Little changes that actually affect you in your everyday life that doesn't affect you in the grand scheme of things and over time, but like just immediate, just satisfaction. Oh, my shower head's working. I have a straw. This is his secret sauce. Talking about these little bits of crap because I'm with him on the shower heads, but I'm not with him when he goes, these places that have so much water, they have too much water. They have more water than they need, less than they should have. I don't agree with more water than they need. I believe we all should do our part, but I don't believe the shower heads work because the shower heads make you stand under the water longer and then you don't do it.
I agree.
Do you remember the water saving thing in Australia? They always be like this: when you're brushing your teeth, turn off the tap whilst you're brushing your teeth. Because everyone puts their tap on it and they go.
I grew up in the save one family, one bath. That's what we had in the country that I was from in the Riverland.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's Great Depression shit right there, man. That's a human soup that you're sharing with you.
Now I look back on it as well. I remember having to share a bath with my brothers, and I was about 9, and then my brother would be 16, and he's had the pool. Then my 14-year-old brothers had the bath water. Then I get the bath water. The amount of cum that might have been in that bath, because we only had the only time you got privacy was in the bathroom. It was the only house in the only room in the house with a lock on it.
So it looks like a fucking miso soup in there.
Yeah. It looked like fucking sea monkeys on the back of a comic book. Yeah.
Here's another thing with Donald Trump. I entirely
come
agree.
out of the bath like I was shot by Spider-Man.
Here's what I agree with Trump also, and I say it because I've seen it already today. I hate wind turbines.
I love wind turbines.
They look like shit.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
They look like
You're
shit.
wrong. You're wrong. It's harnessing our natural environment to get. And I hate when people go,
They're trash.
Do you know how long it takes to make back the energy? I don't give a fuck as long as it starts making back the energy eventually. Palm Springs is run by those fucking things.
It's an eyesore.
In the middle of the desert. They just you have them as a farm. No, it's not an eyesore. An eyesore. You know what's an eyesore? Fucking people running out of energy. People starving in the fucking world. We need to conserve energy. We need to make fucking greenhouse effects better. We need to do whatever we can. We all have to do our part. You're wrong. You're fucking wrong.
I'd rather have mandatory solar tiles, the Tesla tiles, than have
but they don't do everything. They don't fucking the wind turbine. You go to Palm Springs. My bingo wings went mental there. I got to work on that. Look at that. Bingo.
Old tuck shop lady.
Anyway, yeah. So if you don't know what it is, Americans, they're called bingo wings. The bit that's the flap underneath there, because the old ladies in Britain go bingo. What was I talking about? Oh, the wind turbines. Hold on, wait for this.
Yeah. Well, why don't you put a pinwheel in your pants?
I think you'll find it's
fucking
mine,
house.
Mike Jack. Didn't I buy all this equipment?
No, I own these.
You own all these? Oh, I am. I can smell it on it.
You're disgusting, man. Yeah, look, I get it. Listen, we don't need to have a discussion about bloody clean energy. I just personally agree with him on the shower heads, and I don't like wind turbines.
He doesn't like the wind turbines?
He thinks they're an eyesore as well because they kill the birds, right?
These environmentalists, they say they love the environment, and then the hawks, they're getting hit. A lot of birds, they get chopped up.
No, I don't agree. I'm all for the wind turbines. They work. Look, as I said, go out to Palm Springs. The whole city's fucking run on wind turbines. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I also think they should do more with the waves and the water. Hydroelectricity, I'm a big fan of as well. Anything we're using our environment, solar, wind, hydro, all good stuff. All good stuff. It's that is mankind working at our finest is using, like, you walk out, it's windy. Why can't we harness this fucking shit and make a light bulb go on? Of course we should. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful.
I like liquid gold. Have you heard of it? Liquid gold?
I wouldn't give a shit if I could see wind turbines out my window. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest.
Yeah, there's a few blokes over here, handymen from regional Illinois. What do you reckon they fucking like? Coal, baby. They like coal. I can see it.
That view out there could do with fucking wind turbines right now.
Hey, have a look at that. You know what fucking wind turbines out there? Look at the prairie.
These guys don't want to be fucking seen building. Just trying to do a job without you and your fucking pink shirt walking out there going with a microphone holding it up like that. Anyway,
my father-in-law said, he goes, so you need to do a podcast? I said, yeah. He goes, so what do you talk about? That isn't just shit. And I said, we'll do a bit of stuff about the news. And he goes, so do you guys do a lot of research? I said, next to zero. But why do people want to hear that?
It's a couple of blokes talking rubbish to each other, isn't it? That's all any radio show is, right?
That's what this is, mate. We're not here to get the facts right. We should finish up, though. So I'll end on one last story. You can tell me which one you want to talk about Jaguar, or do you want to talk about this really sad story about Carmelo Anthony, the kid who killed the other kid?
No, let's talk about Jaguar.
Well, we can talk about Jaguar. Or hold on, I'm throwing a.
I feel like it's like when my wife goes, "Which outfit do you like more?" And then I've chosen the wrong one because I gave you said you gave me two options, and I said we'll talk about Jaguar, and you went, or. Why don't you want to talk about Jaguar?
Because who gives a fuck? Yeah, they rebranded and then it was a woke rebrand and now they're failing. But you know what?
they're about a $500,000 car or something. So naturally, they're going to sell less.
I think they've just started to build like basically Rolls Royce of cars. They're going to sell a whole lot of less. I don't think it's the wokeness that is going to.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even so much woke. It was just weird. They just sort of threw out all their legacy in that brand, because you think of Jaguar and it was rooms like this, right, with guys in driving gloves and British racing green, and now they're going for young and trendy.
Yeah, but this is going to be like New Coke. My prediction is that Jaguar will be back. So if you haven't seen, Jaguar just got rid of all their cars and they've got that one car that's worth a lot of money. It looks closer to a Phantom Rolls Royce. It has suicide doors that open the other way, which is the ultimate sign of fanciness. So, people can get into the car and, someone, a doorman can open it for you. Ugly car, in my opinion. And they've sold, what have they sold?
They've sold 57.
57. How long have they been out for?
Is it for the month of 49 cars in April once it started. Yeah.
Very expensive car. Look, my biggest concern wouldn't be the wokeness. My biggest concern would be getting parts. There's only 49 cars. Finding a mechanic who works on it must be a fucking nightmare.
All right. Here's a story I want to do because I want to do crime because crime rates.
You didn't want to talk Jaguar at all.
I didn't want to talk Jaguar. Fuck Jaguar. It was my mistake for bringing it up. I regret it.
In fact, Amos, before we start, he goes, I don't call it Jaguar unless I call it with an F. Right? That's what he said. Terrible person.
Here we go.
Right,
okay, here's the last story. I think it's important to do crime because crime is what rates. All the shows that do well are crime. Yeah. We try and do comedy. Comedy's up for the eye of the beholder, but crime is interesting to all.
And you know what I know about ratings is always put your best story in the last 3 minutes. That's when people really are listening.
Well, we can edit this. Yeah. Here we go. So this story takes place in Port Lincoln. Now, Port Lincoln is near where I'm from in South Australia, in probably about 6-hour drive or something from Adelaide. It's a very rich farming and ocean, what do you call it, like snapper fishing town. A lot of billionaires.
Near the water.
Big fisher people. In fact, a lot of Croatians went there to make
everyone's got a fisher.
Here's the headline. Beauty and the Geek. Now, do you know what Beauty and the Geek is, Jim?
Beauty and the Geek. We have an American version. Now, Scott Zabilski, who worked on the Jim Jefferies show.
Oh, there is an American version.
Yeah, producer on the Jim Jefferies show, was the producer of Beauty and the Geek here in America. And I always liked Beauty and the Geek. Because it really shouldn't have, because half of the girls were good looking and half of them were just pig shit stupid, right? And half of the guys weren't even that smart. They just had psoriasis and thick glasses. So it should have been called Uggos and Good Lookings, but Beauty and the Geek was what they went for.
Yeah, so Beauty and the Geek Australia had a contestant called Tamika Chessa.
Ah, yes. Come on, Chessa. Okay, yes, I know about her.
Now, she is currently in police custody in South Australia.
Why? What happened?
After allegedly, we love saying allegedly, that really gets us off the hook here, murdering her partner, Julian Story. Police have confirmed in a June 28 press release.
Was he the geek?
He was not the geek. They met afterwards.
I bet you the geek feels lucky about it, eh?
After there was a response to a small fire June 19, the police entered the property shared by Chessa, 34, and her boyfriend, Story, 39, to find a confronting scene, the release noted, as Julian's body had been dismembered.
Dismembered?
Julian's head had been removed during the argument, police
I can't get my wife to cut up a chicken.
And get ready for this. Despite extensive searches and interrogation by South Australian police, the head is yet to be located.
Oh, God. Well, in all fairness, I heard she was good at head jobs.
It's what got her on the show.
Would you call that a head job, Jack? Would you call that head? Jack's giving me this smile.
He's not happy. Now, I want to get up.
What, am I being misogynistic about the
woman murdered?
Am I being misogynistic about the murderer? Am I? Is the woman who cut the man's head off, does she deserve more respect? Just didn't know that she deserved more respect than I was giving her. Okay, carry on.
Right, so I'll play you the story from local news. Here we go. This has just popped up. Let's listen to this.
Returning to our top story on the former reality TV star accused of beheading her boyfriend in Port Lincoln.
Lauren Rose is there for us tonight, and Lauren, the search continues for his remains.
It does.
Okay, you cut out. You cut out.
Major
Here we
crime
go.
did with locals here to help them with the gruesome task of finding the 39-year-old's head. Julian Story's dismembered body was found last Thursday in the home he shared with his partner, former Beauty and the Geek contestant Tamika Chesser. Police believe he'd been dead for up to 48 hours. His body discovered after a small fire at the property. They've released chilling CCTV of the accused killer walking the streets of Port Lincoln after the murder, carrying a bag with 3 dogs in tow. They're urging anyone who saw her to contact them. SES volunteers have searched several areas this afternoon, looking in dense scrubland in Port Lincoln's north and along the coastline. Local residents are being asked to check their security cameras and dash cams for any images of Chesser, while anyone with information about the possible location of Julian Story's remains is being asked to come forward. As well as being important to the police investigation, detectives say they want to give Julian Story's heartbroken family a chance to lay him to rest.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what it makes me think of? I know that it's weird to bring this back on myself. She was just a contestant on a reality show. I host a game show in Australia. I can't kill anyone, can I?
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, but
What do you mean?
If I kill someone, it's going to make the news, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hardly worth it.
Yeah.
The favorite part of the story for me is there's an Indian bloke who owns the gas station that these two frequent, right? Yeah. Now, I reckon it says that they might be in there at late night getting a lot of snacks. That's the way that it sounds, you know? They might be stoners or, you know, big drinkers or whatever. So they're doing a lot of late night visits. And the gas station guy says, well, Julian has shoplifted from me more than 10 times. ... But I don't think he deserved to be decapitated.
Yeah, but what if he did it 12 times?
That's one of those quotes you give to the press. And when they leave, you go, fuck. So I think I came off.
But if you heard his intonation, it would have been like, oh, he shoplifted me about 10 times. The guy doesn't deserve to be decapitated. You know, if you do it like that, it's all right. But if he paused and goes, he has shoplifted off me over 10 times, I don't think he deserves to be. If you do it like this, if you go, I don't think he deserves to be decapitated. You got to hear the intonation. It doesn't read well.
But does he deserve to be decapitated?
Yeah. I did the voice very lightly.
Oh, you started the voice. You infected me with it, the voice. And if we can't do the voice, even though you've got an Indian wife, who can do the voice?
She can. She does it really well.
I'm all about the voice.
Yeah, she does the voice.
Bro, that's fucked up. Yeah, so that's our. We'll probably be following that story along. There seems to be, dude. The reason I'm bringing this up,
how does she decapitate? Because I can't get my wife to do manual labor, right? I reckon cutting her head off, the spine, the spinal cord, you'd need an axe, and you wouldn't be able to do it just kabang. You'd have to go for it. She's only a petite girl.
Yeah,
more power to her. I'm just impressed with the due diligence. No,
but I'm sorry. If you live in Australia, all you hear about is the violence against women, which is bad. And
I've always said it. Okay, so they have a TV show on everyone's seen this TV show, Snapped, right?
Right.
The TV show Snapped, and it's about women murdering their husbands, and it says Snapped, and it's like, she was having an affair for 15 years, and then when she decided she didn't want the husband anymore and his cancer wouldn't wipe him away, she snapped, right? You have a show about men killing their wives. It's called Murderers.
Yeah. Satan.
Even in the fucking title, they're apologizing. Snapped. Oh, you fucking did something. That's what the show could be called.
Well, what did you want her to do? Tonight at 8:30. Well, you can't blame her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, on this podcast alone, in the last 3 episodes, we've got a girl who set a bloke on fire in Australia because he said, get back in the kitchen. And now we've got a Beauty and the Geek contestant who has decapitated her boyfriend. What's going on with Australian women, mate?
Also, if this girl's a beauty, what's she dating a bloke who shoplifts at the corner store for? She could get someone really good. No wonder she was trying to get out of that relationship. Trying to move on up. What do you reckon?
Well, look her. Her name's Tamika Chesser. Look her up.
Tamika Chesser, right? I imagine she's a good-looking girl, right? She's a good-looking girl. She's going to go to prison. Now, I'm going to tell you a big difference between men and women, right? A good-looking guy can kill literally 20 people. He'll go into prison and he'll get love letters from women all day. Just message after message after message. Women who want to make Ted Bundy got it all the time. The two Ramirez brothers, they got loads and loads of, But do you reckon any bloke's going, I'm going to write to Tessica Chesser?
Oh, you're fucking dirty, aren't you, love, eh? You like a rough deer?
Yeah. I like a head job too, Tessa.
I've just gone on her Instagram and this is so good.
They haven't shut that down yet.
So she's an Instagram, thought, right? So she puts her sexy pictures on Instagram. This is so good. I have a friend, and every bloke out there has a friend who, if you go on any woman's Instagram, he's following her.
Oh, yeah.
So my friend,
any hot chick in the world, and you're like, you don't know, and then they like all the pictures, and then they always comment underneath that's a good look. That's a good look for you, and or someone like they'll go hashtag no makeup, and they'll go,
you don't need it.
Yeah, as beautiful as ever.
So, dude, this is my friend who literally every woman on earth I've ever followed, he follows. He's following her and likes every picture. So he's probably seen the news story, Tamika Chesser beheads boyfriend, and he's gone, oh, fuck, she's all right.
There's nothing wrong with Tama. I can see where she is. Look, how do I describe Tama? In 20 years, she could marry Jeff Bezos.
Well, let's use this to finish.
She's got big fake boobs. She's got a whole lot of. She goes to UFC fights.
Yeah, but I want to finish today's episode with, in the words of Tamika Chesser, who is currently being held for decapitating her boyfriend. And if there's no greater sign of Instagram not being reality, I take you out with Tamika's most recent post before killing her boyfriend. Quote: "Be the reason people believe in beautiful souls, kind hearts, and good energy. Never stop being a good person."
That's it. That's her second last post, mate. Because her last post is this: just beheaded a bloke. Just cut a bloke's head off. Thank God it's Friday.
Peace and love.
There's the one before. You can read it back to front. It's like a cryptic puzzle. Always be a good person. But in all fairness, has she gone down a slippery slope? Because she hasn't posted since 2023.
Yeah, the love and light is over.
She don't she might have okay, I'm gonna say drugs. I'm gonna say she got into the drug scenes with this bloke. They go and
allegedly.
So old come on her Chesser. She's got a web page that isn't. The web page needs a bit more work. The web page, she can work on that in prison. There's no links to anything.
That's it. So it's just not
hang on. You go home. If you want to contact her,
you can call 000 in Australia.
Here we go. Should we reach out?
Yeah, right. Do it. Go. Me and the boys are putting on a fishing trip in Port Lincoln. We are looking for a topless barmaid.
Yeah.
Are you currently on parole?
Trying to get out of difficult relationship. What is your advice?
Head? Question mark.
So there was one time there was like a contestant on the 1% Club, and it was like 1% Club contestant done for pedophilia. It was like one of those women had shagged all of her 16-year-old students at school or 15-year-old boys or whatever like that, and they go pedophile for 1% Club, and they put a picture of me like this.
That honestly, you should be able to sue for that, hey? Because you
didn't have to read far.
Doesn't matter. No one reads in our society. There is a handful of people who go like this. Yeah, that Jefferies bloke, the gun guy, pedophile.
Find me 1% Club Australia, lady, female, pedophile or whatever. Find that.
So let's end on one more time.
No, I think that
the words of Tamika Chesser.
Yeah, we just end on the words of Tamika Chesser.
Oh, we can do it. Here's another one for you. She's got so many of them.
Yeah.
Living loving, healing, learning, and growing. I'm on a journey.
Yeah. Hey, there's only two things happening in life. You win or you learn. And she's learning at the moment, and she's going to come out of it a better person. Come on her, Chessa. Let's good night, Australia.